Welcome back to Kane's Corner. We're going to bring on Ted Sellers. So have a conversation. I've never talked to Ted before, really, one-on-one. Not much at all, anyway. He's a great fan. Great in studio. He's doing a great job. But before he comes on, I did want to address Pat Ford's absolutely unhinged tweet that he sent to me. Let me pull it up 1 second. Where is it? There we go. So he's promoting his show, The Drips. Great show. It's coming on tonight, 9:30. Everybody should watch, no doubt about it. All one team now on the network. Of course, not all of us feel that way, but somebody like myself, I want everybody to do well. But he said a special guest, Kane is able, joins us tonight. I'm not. To break down which small animals are his favorite to torture and kill. Wow. His requested topic, not my call. Also, Kane won't be joining us because you won't believe this. I don't like him. So tune in or don't. So, we're going to bring Ted in now. I don't know if you could hear me back there. I'm sure he could. You able to hear me? Okay.
Absolutely. So you're not going on to list your favorite animals to kill?
No, not that I know.
Keep us waiting. Are you dropping that news now?
No, and I don't want to be called a Nazi. I also don't want to be called people that tortures animals. So those are the two things on the table that.
Well, keep that to Jay.
That was crazy, huh? I don't know what
wild tweet.
That was nuts. Nuts.
I think my favorite thing is that Jay will be the first to tweet at like 2 Minute fans that are just like talking like in the public space of Twitter, being like, this is gay or whatever. Oh, yeah. And then he'll just be like, here's a rat that I'm like sending off to sea and drowning.
And that sucker went thump. You heard it. It was like thump.
So just a wild world out there.
The funny, crazy thing is I know deep down he must know how fucking crazy it is, but he didn't seem to really grasp it.
No, I don't think so. He replied. I'll give him credit. He replied defending that tweet to anybody that tried to come at him. So I'm not defending the tweet, but I do have to, like, at some level, respect the.
Yeah, no, he's serious.
Post a video like that and then defend it to everybody. So,
so no problem with it. But this Pat Ford thing is crazy. I really don't know. I mean, ever since that time in studio, he's been kind of whatever to me. I think he's very sensitive about his mental health, and I have empathy for him. I'm sorry that he goes through that, but if you're going to come on the internet, you're probably going to get your balls busted a little. And I think
he's okay with it. I think he likes the back.
He did unfollow me, so that was a little. That's what I was wondering, and I was like, oh, maybe
he's playing hard to get.
I guess so. Jesus, that was crazy. Anyway,
I just got to be nice because I don't want to end up in a kissing video. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, he's part of the I call him the CJC, the Circle Jerk crew. He's a proud member. Named John, Cinema Lords, John and Scranton, Mick. These guys, they love each other, which is great. I mean, it's good for camaraderie, I guess. But everybody will look at that tweet, and if somebody else wrote that, you'd say, well, I don't know. But that was a little crazy. And I don't know if you saw Mayo's tweet. Did you see the one he put out?
If I did, let me know which one.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pull that up too, which was almost as unhinged as this one. He put out this sorry, I suck on this. So he put out this basically it was basically he was making a point that Kirk makes everyone run around him better. I've been thinking about it a lot since then. A few exceptions jump out, but they sort of prove the rule. So he wrote this. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this good, but it's like
you can just read it.
So my takeaway is whatever. He has this little thing. It's Kirk makes all these people better. So the people on the list. Mm-hmm. This is so Andy. The people on the list are like Jack, Coleman, Gus, Mike Manansti, Dave Cullinane, Trudell, Steve Robinson, Clemmer, Blind Mike, Carano, Mayo. It's like, well, one of them doesn't fit, I've never seen anybody that cares more about himself than that guy. It's a funny. I mean, maybe you go back and see it doesn't really translate over.
I kind of like that
this.
tweet. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's you explaining it to me, but like that's the most on-brand Mayo tweet.
It
so
is.
like, I think that's pretty well done, to be honest.
Oh, he put out the ask for people to come on and invite him on a show to talk about it, and then he sent those like were those weeds that blow around in Texas? Those
Tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds. There you go.
Yeah.
And nobody took him up. I would have brought him on here, but yeah, it was crazy. Couple unhinged situations. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, Ted, now that you're here.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a few questions, but what are your takes right now about the earthquake thing? I will say this. Start off. I remembered I was sitting down and I felt what he felt. Exactly what he felt. I felt it. And it only reminded me back to, and I actually had to look this up online. I remember I was at my friend's house. I looked up the date now. It was 1996. It was a Sunday. It was like 4:00. So I ended up finding what it was. And when that earthquake happened the other day, it automatically sent me back to that day for some reason. It just made it feel like it was exactly the same. That's why I was like, oh, maybe that was an earthquake. It happened to be, but he definitely must have. I saw the thing shake. What was your take on it?
So my thing is, and I don't know if this was your experience because you said you felt it. I personally didn't feel it where I was. But when you originally felt it, if you had not gone online and saw anything about an earthquake happening, would you have known that you just experienced an earthquake? The only thing I will say is, like I just said, it did. The first thing I thought about when I felt it was that day in 1996. It just went right back there. It almost sounded like a train was coming through my building. I remember that falcon in the front yard.
I'm telling you, no, I did feel it. I felt it. I'm 100% in agreement with him. It seems like a lot of people really aren't, though, huh? You think it's?
Yeah, my take is that he revisionist, like he thinks he felt something, and that's fine. But had he never known that somebody said there was an earthquake, it never would have been brought up during the duration of that show. And of course, once you hear there was an earthquake, it could have been a car passing by. It could have been anything that caused some sort of a shake for him. And he never would have been like, that's an earthquake. So I think they're both kind of right in a way, but it's 10 times more entertaining that they both double down on their corrective side. But imagine how crazy it would have been if Justin in the moment interrupted Kirk and said, we just had an earthquake, and then it was confirmed 10 minutes later. I'm kind of upset that we're deprived of that moment because that would have been insane.
Well, I can understand him not really knowing. I know what you're saying, though. I guess if nobody said anything about it, I don't think I would have brought it up to anybody that said, I feel like I felt an earthquake.
Right.
After I heard it, it kind of all put together, but I guess you're right. Maybe you are right about that. But what do you think is going to happen when he goes in? You think Kirk's going to agree, or he's just going to keep doubling back the other way and say, there's no way that you felt it?
For the next show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to say something similar to what he did at the end of the last one, that Justin just really wants to have it be known that he knew it was an earthquake, but he just needed it to be confirmed before he said anything, because even Justin admitted he felt like Kirk would just call him an idiot and whatever, and it ended up happening anyways. So you might as well just speak your mind in the future if you think you're experiencing something that you wouldn't normally.
That's true. Yeah, it was it was kind of funny. I was surprised at how many people said that I don't know. I don't believe they really thought this, but you really could see the shake in the videos. I didn't really. I guess it
the
could be anything.
Meteorologist coming on really buried Justin.
He did.
that was. I was waiting for this sciencey answer about how because it travels so fast. Just because Boston didn't feel it doesn't mean Watertown can't be on the plate more or something. I don't know, scientific bullshit. But he just came on. He's like, yeah. They were on a high ground. You're not. No way did they.
And did anybody know less about hurricanes than Mick? I mean, earthquakes than Mick?
Any disasters. I mean, even when he was talking about this tornado that was wind, that was insane.
People falling at cracks? I don't think so, Mick. I mean, it was like a tremor, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like we've experienced, as you said, 1996, but we've experienced in the Northeast, and they're usually around like anywhere between like a 3 and a 4 type
yeah,
of earthquake, where unless you're close to it, if anything, like we always saw like the memes of like the lawn chair, like the one fell over, and like people post like I survived,
yeah.
whatever earthquake it was, like that's our equivalent of it. But yeah, Mick just had no idea that it wasn't like Dante's Peak. Or volcano where like things are
Yeah,
splitting down like the middle. That was
yeah,
wild.
yeah, it was. I was. I mean, I've seen some of them. I mean, obviously when they're really bad, like that. It's a couple of those videos online about those tsunamis. Like it just like you see the water coming in, and it just fucking never stops. Like holy shit, that's crazy. But yeah, he didn't really have a good concept of it. It was kind of funny. But what'd you think about his performance? I thought he was spectacular the other day.
Yeah, I thought the last
Uh,
two times that Mick was in, he's been really good since being back. He seems to participate in the show topics, which is great. And I do like this, like, you can tell he's kind of moving past the Justin thing, but Justin's still kind of holding on to, like,
yeah,
he's got his walls up. It's like a
he doesn't
great
trust him.
therapy, like, thing to study because he doesn't want to let him back in, even though at times, like, Mick's even, like, agreeing with Justin and Justin just keeps his walls up, and it's interesting. But I did like Mick's appearance on Monday. It was really good.
It actually like for a while I forgot the other guy was there a little bit, but he actually added in really well too. Played against Sports Guy. I thought it was a really good show.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
solid third chair.
he is.
I do laugh at like some of the questions he asks though.
Yeah, I know.
Like he just like his first question like right out of the gate. And like it makes me wonder how people listen to the same show that I do and
It's
how
true.
like that's the first question that they want to ask. Like he's like,
What was the one
so
he asked about
Whitney,
the
it
dozen
was like,
first? Was that the first?
well, no, it was Ryan Whitney. He was
Oh,
like,
Ryan
does
Whitney.
Ryan
Yeah, that's
Whitney
right.
run
Yeah, yeah,
things
right.
by you when he's talking about like chicklets? And Kirk's like, no.
Yeah. And it is true. I don't know why I did think that. It is odd. You're right. Sometimes it is weird when you hear other people they take the show just differently, I guess.
I think they just
Uh,
talk as like friends. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
yeah.
they're running things by each other because they have two separate like entities and they just are similar people.
So I thought with Mick too. I mean, I guess overall, like he drives me nuts because I see the talent. You see somebody, I really do think he has something there. There's something. I mean, for sure, I think he has some talent. I think his only shot, really, I mean, his best shot, his most logical shot is to tie himself to the show as much as possible, right? I mean, Mutt's gone. He could fill in once a week at some point. I think he'll be a good, like, once a week guy. It's not out of the question for him. Do you think he's going to stay consistent like this? I mean, he's been great on Mike and the Minifans, too. He did, when he hosted the first one a while ago, I was like, wow, he really did a good job with that show. And it was a long time before he's come back, but he's doing a great job and he's kind of buying in. And you think this is it? Do you think he's finally figured this all out? Maybe he's finally over his breakup, which is I know is not easy. He's kind of looks healthier. He looks kind of chubby, actually. He looked a little heavy, didn't he? I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
like I
call
don't.
people fat, but
Yeah, who are we to say? But
yeah, I'm just saying. He just looks a lot healthier. Maybe this is the time now to seize this at 29 years old. He's kind of in between places. Doesn't really have, he hasn't put a full plan together. Maybe this is the time, jump in
it
full
does.
force and just go for it, man.
Yeah, no, it does feel like, and I hate kind of speculating on like other people's lives because other than the
Mm,
few times I've met Mick, I don't know much about what goes on with him day to day. However, I can say that it seems like he's more comfortable this year. In the last couple months, he's jumping into Mike, Mike and the Minifans. He looks like he's kind of having fun when he's on the show again, instead of being bogged down in like whatever feud is going on and like not wanting to hear any like dissenting voices. He doesn't seem like he's quick to storm out of any situation and can kind of shrug things off, which is nice. And the 2 or 3 times I did meet Mick, each show I ended up getting afraid he was going to shoot up the studio. So I don't get the feeling so far in 2025 that that's going to happen. And to
yeah,
me, I know therapist expert, but that seems like progress. That
for
seems like a
sure.
good way to like use that word for him. So maybe it is. He's just back to being like, more confident and, where he is in life. And I think Mick is a nice guy, and if he can just adapt the like it is what it is for a lot of situations, and let things kind of roll off, he's gonna enjoy the ride a lot more. And it seems like he's there right now, so I hope that holds up for him.
Yeah, it just is. He's a baffling person. He really is. I mean, he's I guess like that. I don't know. I don't have Crohn's disease. I have no idea. So felt like that was a big thing that was really hurting him.
Yeah, I couldn't
But
imagine
he
having a
was.
disorder.
I couldn't imagine. It must be tough, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking kill myself.
Did you ever in your life like feel bad for yourself about? Did you have this from birth? I would assume, right?
Yeah, I came out in the wheelchair. But in all seriousness, like I have brittle bones, so I was born with that. It's a genetic defect. I went through things when I was younger at like different times in my life where, you try to like find like who you are in the world and everything.
Yeah.
Like, but my feeling is everybody does that. I had a good family. I had good friends. Everybody was like relatively supportive. You learned what you can and can't do, and then I was very quick to like focus on things I could do. And I just kind of like not created the personality that you see today, but I knew I had to be like an outgoing person if I was gonna like need things.
Sure.
And I was able to kind of like still be somebody that like people I guess wanted to be around too. So I use that to like, my advantage, because like that's like what you have to do. You want people to want to be around you, right?
Sure.
So I just try to be like overall a good person, and I'm good at talking to people, I guess. So that
Yeah.
was helpful. Being able to, make a career and, things like that too. So
Is there anything like in your life that I know? I mean, I dealt with my brother who was disabled, different kind of disabled, but it's a very challenging thing, obviously. But is there anything like that you stands out that just like people might not know about that makes your life just harder than the normal? I mean, other than the obvious stuff, I would say. Like,
I I honestly joke about anything that like I actually find difficult in my life. It probably started as a defense mechanism when I was in
yeah,
like middle school, because like if you joke about something before people start like one counting you out because of whatever it is that you look like or whatever, if you make a joke about it first, it's an instant diffuser to like anybody
sure,
around you. So I'm sure I did that, growing up as some sort of a way to like meet people and kind of diffuse the what people don't want to talk about to you. But I'm just like a really honest person, and like in what I do for work, like I have to be honest, like with feedback I give to other people.
mm,
So I've just always been like, this is how it is. Like you can say anything to me, but like I'll also say anything back. So I don't have anything that really stands out in my life as something that like really bothered me. I was a huge sports fan growing up, so not being able to play sports was a drag. But I broadcasted sports like play by play, like in high school and college, so I was still involved. My dad coached little league when I was that age, so I could have that experience with like my friends. So I just had a really good support system, and they always told me like, focus on what you can do, and people won't care about what you can't do, because if you don't, like, how could they? You know.
did you go? Are you in your 40s? If I don't mind asking.
No, I'm 35.
Okay, all
Actually, I'll
right,
be
so
35 this year. I'm 34.
yeah, all right. Yeah, I'd say it was I can't imagine like that. But that's good. That's a good attitude. And like how'd you get into comedy? You just naturally funny? Is anybody else in your family
No,
have your wit?
I was my dad is probably the closest that and actually his mom, my grandmother, was like really funny. But no, me and my dad always had like a thing where we tried to make like a joke quicker. Um, things like that. But for the most part, I just like really fell in love with stand-up comedy when I
Mm,
was in late middle school, early high school. I would watch like all the Dave Attell stuff on the Comedy Central at night, the roast when it got to like they could actually swear. Comedy Central presents. I found
mm,
George Carlin, who, in my opinion, is the greatest comedian out there. But one night I was actually at a bar, and a kid I went to high school with that I hadn't seen since high school was doing comedy randomly, like at the bar. And then I got talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, we have an open mic night next week. I remember you were pretty funny in high school. If you want to give it a try." And I was
Wow.
there with a couple friends, and of course they wouldn't let me not go the next week because they
Yeah.
were like, "You've always talked about doing this, dude." And so, like, I was like, "All right." So I wrote a couple jokes down that I thought might be funny, and then I went and I actually got a couple laughs. So I was like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." Like, I only
Nice.
did like 3 minutes, and if I watch back that video now, I'll probably like
Yeah.
cringe the entire time, but it does still exist. So,
Do
but
you have regular gigs that you do? I know Kirk asks you every time you come in, you see me like maybe in between, but do you have something like on a regular basis that you do?
yes, so I did up until like 2 years ago, and my schedule is just like all over the place with work. But I still do shows usually like once a quarter at this brewery in Raynham.
Mm-hmm.
And they let me book like all the comedians, run the show. We always sell it out every time, which is
Shit.
great. Yeah, so
Do you
we're
promote
allowed.
that on your site,
I
on your
I have
Twitter?
yeah, I have a couple times. This is actually back before I even got involved with the show again. But even before that, I have like my people that go and see me. There was like 1 or 2 Minute fans out there that go to all the shows when I do them. But for the most part, I'm looking to hopefully this year start booking more often than I did before. The only problem is when you do it in the same place like that, I always feel the need to like come up with like new jokes
Yeah.
each
I
time.
was gonna
And
ask, do you have like sets or you just
yeah, I have if I do a show at like a newer place,
yeah,
like when I did at that award show that I was talking to Kirk about when I was on a couple times
sure.
ago, you have to like write jokes like either specifically for that, but I also have like my jokes I know will work pretty much anywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go to the same place within like a couple months, I know there's probably going to be like similar people there, so I can't just show up there and play
Yeah,
the
same
hits.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like rock and roll where you can play the hits and people are
Yeah,
happy.
exactly.
If they know the
Got it.
punchline, it's not as fun.
That's true. So like how did you basically when you started doing it, did you like what is your like process, I guess? Like how do you come up with the stuff? Like I'm amazed by it because I am not funny. I know that, but like trying to figure that out seems really complicated. How do you know that you have like a certain amount of time you base the jokes that you're building into a time slot? I mean, I guess you would, but
It starts with like ideas or experiences that I've had. So what I'll do is a lot of my favorite jokes that I tell are experiences that I've had, but it's like either it would be funny if this also happened,
Mhm.
or it's like an extension of my personality, like it's me but like on steroids as far as like the ridiculousness of the situation.
Okay.
So I'll mostly tell from some sort of a personal experience because I can tie myself to it actually.
Okay.
And I'll kind of teeter between like, am I an awful person that deserves to be in a wheelchair? Or like, am I just like, you know, some sort of like, just like a person in the world experiencing things.
Got it.
But it's fun to like get reactions from the crowd, whether it be laughter or sometimes like the laugh groan is always a good one because like people don't want to laugh, but they have to laugh because it's
Yeah.
like kind of funny, but
Yeah.
they don't want to, they're like, I shouldn't be laughing at this. Like, I like that one too. Um, but yeah, so for the most part, it's personal experiences. But every now and then, like news topics come out and stuff like that that I might have like a funny take on that.
Some
Depend.
have accused you of laughing too much on the show yourself, like fake laughing. It's not true. I don't think, but
I mean, I'm gonna quote Kane on this one, and it's a
oh, you are?
comedy. It's a comedy podcast,
That's right.
people.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, I get it. Like sometimes people think like I laugh too much, but honestly, like if I'm in there with Mike and Kirk and like Justin and Dave, and there's just like a funny vibe that's in the
Sure.
room during certain topics, and I just can't help myself. Like I want to like Mike's making jokes, I'm making jokes, obviously Kirk's making jokes, Justin's saying whatever ridiculous like thing we're probably ripping on him for.
Yeah.
I don't
Do you
know.
think Mike's a perfect fit for you? Like it seems like you guys are like a lot alike in a lot of ways.
I've
Think,
always gotten along with Mike in every interaction I've had. I mean, he's the one that got me technically introduced like to the world,
yeah,
just because of that DM I sent him like 5 years ago,
yeah.
telling him I'll be the wheelchair guy that he can push in the 5K.
Oh, that's
But
great.
Mike's always been good. I like doing content with Mike. I do like when I'm on the show with Mike because I almost I don't like see it as like um not like competition or anything, but I want to make Mike laugh. Like, I think
Sure.
Mike's a really funny person, and like if I can make him, Kirk, or anybody in that room laugh, like that,
Yeah, it's a
to
good
me is
barometer.
like it's
Sure.
it's like that's probably funny if either of them are laughing. So
Well,
I do like
you're a
being in there with them.
great third chair. I mean, honestly, you're in the top discussion of the best ones. I mean, for sure. I think that's, there's obviously critics out there. I've seen them. It's kind of stupid. Like, I mean, you can say what you want, but it does fit well on the show. I love it.
Well, I appreciate
What
that.
happened? Where did you go to? I know you've kind of explained this before, but I don't know if I really bought it, or did you disappear completely? I know your account never came down, right?
No, my account never did. I like took a break from being like, I guess in the world for the most part. I still listen to the show, as I, discussed on the show. I'll always listen to KMS.
Yeah.
It's the best podcast in the world. But there was like, I never want to be like an arm waver. And I don't want to be somebody that like, like has to be involved or get like upset at the show if I'm not involved. And once like the Senate thing with me and Mike ended, a lot of people don't know it, but like the day Mike said he wasn't going to be on the show anymore, I was supposed to be in studio like that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I had messaged with Steve and everything, and then Steve had reached out and said like, we don't think it'll be fair to Mike in like the current
Yeah.
atmosphere if we did that. And I was like, no problem, I get it. Hope like Mike's. I had actually talked to Mike a little on the side. Hoped he was well and everything like that. And then like the opportunity from there like never really came back, and I didn't want to like reach out to the show and be like, remember me, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if they wanted me around, like they could reach out, and I just didn't really have that like moment until like the basketball season came that I felt like I could provide something,
Sure.
to like kind of like get back in. And then when the play-by-play thing came up, like I hadn't done that since college, but I loved doing play-by-play. And I thought it was the perfect time. Like Josh and James can't
Would
do
you
it.
love more of that or Barry and Coleman? Because it was a close call, wasn't it? That was fun.
Yeah, the Coleman thing was funny. I sat on that for almost a month. Like,
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard to do.
And I didn't want to be like a jerk, so I didn't have a reason. I love Coleman. Like, I really do. Like, he's a really good guy.
He's good.
But that was wild.
That was something. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But circle back to Mick, I guess. Do you think is going to be a long term thing here? Like, do you think you'll be on the show by the end of the year? Well, he's going to do the case. I know that, but even with KMS, or think he'll have some kind of payment coming to him, part time payment of some sort. He's making money with the show.
Well, I think from the case he will. I don't know if that's really there for anybody beyond who's currently involved. For KMS, I just don't think it's really needed.
That's
I
true.
guess because other than like when they're actually doing the podcast, I just don't know what a random Minifan would do for the show when the podcast is not currently on the air. And I think Mick would also be happy with being like a once a month kind of guy. And, I think that's a great spot for, Mick or, any of the once a month, people with the show. But I think for the case, if he's actually doing like editing and research and stuff like that, they'll definitely, I'm sure, make it worth his while. Why wouldn't they?
Well, I'm hoping for him. I mean, I think it's, what'd you think about? I mean, I think it's going to work out. He seems a lot healthier. So I bang off Mick for a bit, and I'm killing him. But after the last performance, there's really not much to say. He looked all in, locked in. And I will say the thing with Mick that sucks, I don't even really remember his older performances because he's so skewed by those other ones that people are like, well, it wasn't like the time he stormed. Well, you can't do every episode like that. I mean, you'll burn out,
Right.
Can't go in and fight every single time. So I thought this time was the last two. You're right. The one before, I think he sat in the second chair too, right? I don't think Mike was there. And then this time again, he was like stellar. So I think, hopefully it works out for our guy Mick. I did want to ask you about the wheeling bets too. I'm not good with the gambling stuff. So are you tied to Ilio some way, or are you just kind of
no. I was just fucking around.
Just busting balls. Okay.
Yeah, so I actually like Mr. Ice's like 3 years ago. He went on this incredible run where I want to say he was like for games it was like 60 and like 30 something or 50 and 30 something, which in gambling is insane, and it was strictly betting overs of hockey games. So so he did that. He tracked it for a whole year. I actually tailed a bunch of his bets and won like a lot of money that year
Really?
doing it.
Nice.
And like I never once like really like other than like liking a tweet or retweeting something every now and then during that didn't really do much. But I do find him entertaining. And my dad actually like follows him a lot too, and likes his gambling content. So I was
Okay.
just out watching the Colorado
Yeah.
Avalanche game. It was 1:00 on Saturday, so
I
I
don't
figured
care.
I'd
Hey, good.
throw
Never
in a
know.
wheeling bets thing, and why not?
Never know what can happen, you know.
So, but of
What's your
course,
take
I
on-
go
go ahead.
0 for 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lost all the bets.
What do you usually? Is it a set amount of money you would bet on a weekend, or is it pretty much? I mean, weekends are kind of a stupid way to say it. Like do you bet all week? Are you Montante level of
No,
psychopath
not at all.
betting? Or?
Honestly, is my audio good? I think it might have just cut out for a second.
No, you're good right now.
But Montante literally makes me want to puke when I see his bets that he makes on Twitter. Like it's a Thursday night football game and he's got $700 on it. That is insane, and I don't know how he funds it. Don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to know the result. Great if he can do it. Good on him.
The girlfriend doesn't ask questions. Nobody's asking any questions, so I mean, if nobody's gonna bother him, he's gonna keep going this route, right?
But that's not me. So if I go like out to a bar or restaurant and I know I'm gonna probably be like having a game on the TV, I might throw a little money on it just to like kind of half pay attention to it. If I'm gonna watch football all day on Sunday, like I'll probably throw in like a parlay or something and try to see if it hits and have something to root for. But overall, I could just easily like not gamble and it's fine as well.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just fucking around. Wheeling bets is just I didn't know if it was actually something you were like tying to betting and kind of like promoting through that.
Well, no, it started because of the whole feud between Taylor and Lucy.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was funny. And the next thing I know, like, it's got a ton of views, and it was pretty funny. And then I did the second one with the Crip coin, and she ended up getting like pissed off about it, and it's kind of like half troll, half like I actually like I'll bet what I say I'm betting, because if other people are going to tell me, I feel bad if they if they lose money. But
oh, that's interesting. So I was going to ask you too. I'm just looking at this what I wrote down. I saw your last video. I was interested now because what's your plan to get up the stairs this time? Are you going to be carried?
Oh yeah, I'll probably still be carried.
Okay, you're gonna back away from it. No other way.
Again, like I post videos and I say things, but like there was more of a shot.
I don't know if you had a different plan. Who knows? With you guys are.
But you never know. Maybe we'll come up with something. I will be in next week, so we'll see.
Well, 2 bits guys, so I figured there'd be something up your sleeve. Who knows? How'd that Milton's experience go?
Oh, it was awesome. Great service.
Did you go Burlington or? No,
I actually went to South Shore Plaza. It's just closer to where I am. So I actually went with my best man at my wedding, Andy. Nice. So me and him went. We signed up for the deal. I don't have to get measured till June, so I still have time to pretend to lose weight, which is great. So I'm looking forward to that. And they were awesome. Still buy one get one suits if you guys go to Milton's.
Excellent. Yeah, I've never been there, but I'm gonna have to go. Buy one get one free, huh? Or was it 1/2 off? Yeah.
So what they're doing is I got like 10 people tied to my plan. Okay. So what they do is they take like half off each suit then, which is the equivalent of buy one get one for the money. Sure. But that way, not one person's getting a free one and the other person's paying full price,
That's a good deal, though, huh? Wow.
Yeah, fantastic.
That really is a good deal.
Yeah, so. And you get to keep the suit after. I know a lot of people rent tuxes, but, if you buy it, and the price, like, was honestly, like, I'm not even just trying to do, like, a Milton's bit right now.
Why not? Well, yeah.
I honestly, network. But honestly, like, they told me the price, and I honestly planned for, like, another 100, 150 over that. I was shocked to buy the suit.
Wow.
Because I've been in a couple weddings, and this will be the cheapest thing I've had to buy yet, so.
Did did they greet you as soon as you walk in the door? They just jump right on you to help you out, or is it kind of like?
Oh
they
yeah.
kinda-
I mean, like one lady kind of came and greeted. She was like kind of near the door. And as soon as she found out that I was there to kind of book my wedding, she was like, "Oh, you need to work with our manager." So she brought me right over. And she was awesome. And I went in my sweatshirt just so I could, take the picture that I went to Milton's and everything afterwards. But she was talking to me about how every year they do a recap of what worked and what didn't as far as like advertising goes.
Okay,
And every year they agree that like the Kirk Minahan show
sure.
um,
Brings in
is
the
like
brings in
what
the
brings
bodies,
in
huh?
people.
Yeah,
Correct. So
absolutely.
so
Like, if I'm gonna
obviously
go
that
anywhere, it's definitely gonna be there to get
well
that right.
exactly we're loyal people.
Yeah, I
So
worked right next to the one in Chestnut Hill, and that was we used to go in there and look around. I never bought anything I should have, but another thing, I don't know. You watch Mike and the Minifans this week?
I only watched like the first half. I did not watch the second half.
So they had Clemmer on. I know you guys are pretty tight. I've heard him. He's obviously said you're his favorite Minifan. Do we believe that he's going to, put down the bottle? As somebody who loves his drinks myself, we've all said that a million times. He's a big cider guy. He said he's kind of
Loves the
looking.
cider.
He has to
Loves it.
apologize to people at this point for some of the things he's done. What do you think about him saying he's going to try to put it down? And do you think he's built for this? Do you think he can handle that and go out for
I
dinner
don't.
and not have a drink? It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a permanent thing, but I think it was
I
kind of
don't know.
I think it's a kind of a wake up call for him to kind of be like, all right, am I consistently the drunkest person at the function in the room? And I think he had a moment where, and I love Clemmer, obviously, but I think he had a moment where he was like, I think I am that person most of the time.
Yeah,
So he probably was like, let's take a little break. Let's reassess what's going on here. Um,
yeah, it was funny.
he seems like somebody that can compartmentalize it as is it going to add to my evening or do I need it? And I think he's going to choose I don't need it a lot more than he
Yeah,
is going to choose to like drink, you know?
yeah, because I think if he starts, you know how that goes. One turns into 2 to 4, and before you know it, you're screaming at people and telling them how much you love them. And
And he's such like an edibles guy that he could
that's
probably
true.
just like wait till he gets home, pop an edible, and then like then
Finish
it
off.
doesn't matter because like it's just you and the
Yeah,
missus and the dogs.
yeah, you're all good. You don't have to
Yeah,
worry about those
exactly.
things. Nobody's
Right.
gonna
No
put it
no
online with a drunk
apologies.
you.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna
other
be like,
people might.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I slept.
it's around the wrong people because if the word gets back to Kirk, it's coming up. There's nobody's hiding that for him. So
Yeah, exactly. So, and
uh,
I would have loved though to see. I loved Whitney when he was on the Unnamed show, basically just acting like he was like a battered like wife when he was like, Clemmer just yells at me every time he drinks,
I know.
and I'm just
It was
picturing
funny.
like Clemmer yelling at Ryan Whitney. Like,
Yeah, yeah, he's a funny guy. I enjoy his content. So
I do have a question for you though,
go
Kane.
ahead, sure.
So behind you is the kitchen where the magic happens.
Oh yeah, that's the
I
magic.
have to say that the Cooking with Kane video was some of the most captivating content
We
and
got
some
more
of the
coming.
most fun I've had in like a YouTube chat. At what was
Yeah,
it? It started at like 11 at night and we went
yeah.
till like midnight.
Well, I had to wait because there was the divas in front of me. So the network's a little crowded now. I don't know if you noticed it. Like it's not
Yeah,
before
it's
I
a
had
little
my
bit.
own. It was just me and Manners. It was great. Go on whenever.
Yeah.
Now it's a little different, so I had to go on a little later. But I got some more stuff coming because that's really like what I love to do. Is
You
cook.
just kept pulling ingredients. I thought you were signing off for like 45 minutes straight. And then you
Yeah,
were like, "Oh, and I forgot." And you're just
yeah,
pulling out all these ingredients.
yeah.
You
For
take like
fun.
you take like 3 leaves off, and then you just like spend another 5 minutes rolling it back up and
Yeah,
putting it away. And I'm like, "It looks
keep
good though."
clean as you
Did the
go.
missus did the missus like it?
She loved it. Yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
gotten dragged for this. I guess I'm wrong. I'm gonna take the L. I guess. I mean, I thought it was a nice Christmas present. Maybe looking in hindsight, I mean, honestly, she loved it. So, but I kind of understand, I guess, what people are saying. But and I guess like Manners put it to me a way that I kind of understood. He's like, if Jackson would have done it or somebody didn't know how to cook, that'd be a great gift because like they don't. It's not what they usually do or whatever, But I asked her what she wanted, and she's just like, "This was great. That's what I want," And I'm like,
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that live stream. I mean, I got more responses from people that I don't know than when I did that. Like,
Did she see
like,
the?
yeah, your mic sucks. You need some lighting, Kane. Get a spotlight. Like, all right.
I don't know.
So,
It was kind of all pretty perfect in its
That's
own
right.
like weird way. Like
we're gonna do another one very shortly. I actually gonna do something with it. I don't know what yet. I'm trying to figure it out exactly, but yeah, I enjoy that because cooking is something that like honestly attracts people in a way, because there's a lot of people that are very sensitive about their cooking abilities. Are you a cook, Ted?
I can make myself food, but I'm not somebody Russian. My Mrs. Ted's actually a great cook.
She cooks a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so if we're if somebody's making dinner in the house, it's usually Mrs. Ted, just because it'd be silly for the not better cook to cook it up,
But I grew up in a household where everybody couldn't cook. My mother was a fucking terrible.
Really?
Oh, I can't tell. I'd never understood pork, like pork loin. We'd have you call them pork chops. I wouldn't have fed that shit to my fucking dog. I mean, it was terrible. Like I
Is
never
that
realized
why you became a chef?
I kind of well. See, my aunt, my mother's aunt, she's my great aunt, and their mother were like they're from France, and they were just like really good cooks. So it was there. But then like when I ate from her, I realized I'm like, this is awful. I wanted to learn, and I started cooking in restaurants. But yeah, no, it was some people have like such a different experience. Like my kids have a different experience, because they get a lot of different kind of things. I cook all kinds of shit, So for them, they're lucky. But my mother couldn't cook a fucking to save her life. She's actually a lot better now. She was terrible. So yeah, maybe that's what it was all about. It could have been the partying after work too, but one or the other. They both work good. Do you guys have like a lot of hardcore parties after Lowe's or?
No, not really. I'm in like senior management now, so it's
really?
kind of like frowned upon.
Yeah, I would say so.
When I was younger, because I've been at Lowe's for a long time now. When I was younger and I was just like, just a customer service associate or whatever, I would hang out with everybody that was around my age, and we used to, go to whatever local bars after work and stuff like that. But those days kind of catch up to you now, and everybody's got like family.
City, or do you work?
I've been at a few different ones. The one right now is more of like a kind of a small town one, but I did work at the Weymouth location for a while, but that's like right on the Quincy line. So that one was
a big problem with theft at these places, or
yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about the ins and outs of business, but any retail, but any retail store is gonna run into that, and we have a good loss prevention team and all that. So
that's good.
Yeah,
I see these videos of people just like storming out of these places, and I always think about like shit. Like you see that at Lowe's a lot, like the fucking.
Well, Justin is the most famous one. Who? Do you remember that Justin video at Best Buy of him like bodying that guy that was stealing?
Oh yeah, wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Jesus. So like we don't do that.
That is crazy.
But yeah, no, that was probably the best tackle I've ever seen.
All right, Ted. Unless you have anything else, I hopefully get some cooking videos out. But
I just have one more. Does the missus watch the cooking content? Yeah. Does she know you do these YouTube shows?
She watches all the content of mine. Supposedly.
Do you tell her not to read the comments?
Yeah, no, well, I don't want her. I told her like I really like her a lot. So I was like, you don't want to be involved in this, obviously. I hear, I don't really think she likes it. I think she just wants us to have some kind of know what's going on, Right. At the same time, when she looks at my back and she's like, you have a lot of scratches on your back. Like, what's going on? It's like, what are you trying to ask, Same thing with this. I think she likes to keep
scratches on your back.
I don't know what they're from. I don't know. What do you think they're from? I'm not sure, but it's the same thing with this. She keeps a little close eye just to make sure nothing goes off the rails. I mean, I'll tell you while you're here. Fuck it, we'll do the story now. I was gonna tell another time. But I got a fucking. I had that old girlfriend. I don't know. She accused me of possibly being a father of her kid. Anyway, she's gone. Whatever. So I blocked her on email. So one day I get like a call I got a bunch of calls like from all numbers, 781, 781, 781. You know, we all get calls, but they're like back to back to back to back. So I don't answer them. Whatever. I don't think nothing about it. I get this email sent to me. It's basically it's a cut of me doing a show when I kind of talked about this girl, and she's like, "Look what you said about blah, blah, look what you said about me. Like, what are you doing? Da, 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 whatever." So I wrote back to her. I'm like, "What? You know?" She's like, I'm gonna get these things. I'm gonna send them to your." Basically, I think what she wanted to do was send them to my ex-wife or something. I don't know what the fuck. So I gotta say to her, she's watching the content now. I think she's like going through to see if I say anything about her. I only ever said that I told her people that she worked with that she, accused me of possibly being a father, which I couldn't have been. I will say this, Ted. Like, if she is watching, if you're watching, I know a lot of fucking shit about you. And I know shit that you've done to residents. Things I know about that I kept quiet, and I don't work there anymore. But like, honestly, if you're gonna
this just took such a turn.
If you're gonna come pry into my life, I don't want to be like this. If you're gonna come pry into my life and try to fuck shit up, I know you still work there. I don't want to be an asshole, but I'm just saying, just tread lightly. You know what I mean? I don't need this stuff, Ted. I have a great girl now. She's great. But yeah, she does like to see some of the content, I guess, and she enjoys it. She knows the characters.
Yeah.
She knows who you are. I'm like, she must really be watching, So.
Well, watch out, Kane. I'll sneak in there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I do find it funny that Minute fans like kind of treat it like it's the mafia. Like, you don't want none of this. Like I'm trying to protect you, sweetie.
Well, she's very like.
Let the men talk on their 30 view YouTube videos, sweetheart. Like.
Yeah, I think like too. I think it's just the anonymous part. Like, they don't want people to know who they are. And I'm like, well,
I mean, that's the biggest thing.
I get it. I respect it.
Yeah, so. Like Mrs. Ted's the same way. Like, she's never asked to be in the world, doesn't want any part of it, but she's like okay with like the fact that I have something that I like doing. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, there's a few, but
yeah, but they're crazy like us. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Me personally, I couldn't imagine like some of the stuff that she's into. I just would never be into. So
right,
it goes both ways. I don't want anybody that like, you got to have even people that are like can handle a lot of shit. Sometimes this becomes like a lot. It's like, sick of hearing the same shit. Oh, this guy sucks. This guy's a pedophile. He follows my kids around. Oh, he's a KKK guy. After a while, it gets a little old, but I'll be here forever. Thursday, I'll be on the show.
There you go. Yeah, what do we got for Thursday with your appearance? You got anything ready?
Yeah, I got some notes. I'm on with Mike. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like when I'm on Mike because it's such an easier landing spot. And I was nervous the last time because I'm like, now it was me and the guy that didn't really say anything, so I'm not really a carrier. You know what I mean? I need somebody around me. So
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love going on the show. I mean, I love the show, so it's a little scary to think that they're gonna go away for a while, but
we'll see.
Is Fax still there? I don't know if I saw him last episode. I didn't hear much about him. Is he kind of?
So my understanding when I was up there, it was during the 1 week that he had already booked to be up there. So they kind of like let him come up for that first week, and apparently he's still helping out, but he's not up like in Massachusetts, because like obviously there was the whatever happened between like him, Cullinane, Justin, what was asked and what he offered. It seemed like the easy compromise was, okay, you're already booked to be up here for a week. We'll let you come up for a week and then we can do this remote. I think.
Anybody want Fax there less than fucking Justin and Dave? I mean,
yeah, come on. They
he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
If your idea is for him just to cut clips, I mean, I hear Kirk say it all the time, and I expect that from Kirk because he doesn't know anything about producing. But like, those guys should have a little bit of a better plan, I would hope. But listen, I'm not a producer, so I'm not gonna gonna let Manners be the one to rip these guys all the time. I don't want to do that anymore. It's sad, you know.
Yeah, I just can't think of a worse role of trying to get into Barstool than being the unpaid intern with, or paid whatever he has for his like army thing,
Crazy.
of being the intern with that show. Because like it's like the one position that it'll just never happen. Like he would have been better
True.
off coming up once a month and being like a chair.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point.
Just trying to go that route. If that was
like
a goal,
when you're an intern there, you are not heard from at all. Like I
Right.
I can't remember the last time I heard from Fax. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's just like something switches in like Kirk's brain, and he's like,
I
"We're
know.
the intern."
What do you think about that? Do you think that's like a normal, like, is that like, I don't know enough about, I guess, the like that kind of like that podcast business per se, but is that like typical for any radio station or anything? Or
I've had a couple internships. I went to school for broadcast journalism, so I interned
Yep.
at a couple different things in like media, and like, I mean, I was in a wheelchair, so nobody treated me like shit, to be
That's true.
honest.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I
That's a problem
probably
for them
not
if you
the
did that.
best. Like if some like anchor is like, "Hey boy, bring me my coffee," and like throws it on the wheelchair kid, that might get tweeted somewhere. But
Yeah, hopefully so.
for the most part though, like it's not that like you're overlooked, but like nobody's looking at you as like this is your big break, because somebody
Yeah.
somewhere has gone through that before, way in the
Exactly.
past, and they're like, this is your cut your teeth job. Take in whatever you can, just say yes to everything, and don't offer really anything unless asked. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is. And then if you're in like an entry level position, you can get a little more brave, and because you're actually being paid now, and things like that. But
I mean, that's the last intern before him. He was fired the first day, basically, wasn't he, on the basketball court? He's
I was there that day.
fired.
Yeah,
It's like,
that
whoa.
I mean, your boy Pat Ford called that one, because
yeah,
when
yeah.
we were
He tried
setting
to
up
warn
the
him, right?
table, when we were setting up the table, and he was in the layup line, Pat Ford came over to me and he goes, "If Kirk walks in right now, this kid is toast." And then 10 minutes later, Kirk did walk in, and then he started trying to tell people how to like defend and do layups and stuff like that, and Kirk just
That
kicked
was
him
it.
out of the gym.
Oh, that was good
So,
times.
Yeah.
All right, Ted, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for coming on. I enjoyed it a lot.
All
See
right, I
you soon.
appreciate it, Kane. Yeah,
Have a good one.
absolutely.
Bye. Ted, thank you so much. Go to the comments. Ooh. Look at this. What do we got? Anything good? No, I see Don's back. That's interesting. Wow. Thank you, Don. Came to see Ted, didn't you? Well, Mick in here. Thank you, Mick. Thank you. Good job, Mick. You had a great show the other day. I know I just mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. It was great. Good to see you healthy, dealing, going at Kirk, bringing up good topics. Still trying to bang chicken fry. You're on fire right now, Mick. You're on fire. We all should be ready. I know I agreed with Ted. I don't think Justin is really being too playful with you right now, but he'll come around. I think you're doing great, so that's exciting. Let's see. What we got? Anything? Nothing. But we're gonna have a kitchen. It's almost. Yeah. Freddie Lynn on tomorrow, I think. So what's going on later today? Oh, that's right. The drips are on tonight. Pat Ford. Guy hates me. Holy shit. I think Ted thinks he was joking around, but he definitely wasn't. He unfollowed me recently. So I think I got under his skin. And I will say, I mean, I stand by what I said. I don't want to be an asshole, but he does have, the vibes of the old EEI guy, Greg Dickerson. Now, I didn't really put the mental health issue to it. I'm sorry about that, Pat, but I was just talking more about your availability lately. It's been questioning. And I didn't come to the show the other day. I don't know. Did they rebook you yet? I hope so. I want to see you on there. I think you're steering away from the show. I mean, it hasn't been the same since I lit you up on the show that last time. Yeah, I stand by it. What I said. I mean, you have like, you just kind of got a lot of hate lately. I think I'm rooting for you, Pat. I hope you don't stay this way forever. And you got to laugh a little more. I got to have more of a sense of humor. We're lacking it right now. There's some people that just aren't really laughing enough. So I'm glad you're back 2 weeks in a row. I'm excited for you guys. I cannot wait to watch it. 9:30, the drips. Kane's the cooking show. Hopefully, I can put that out soon. I got almost everything I need. I think I'll do something pretty soon. Some more streams. That's it. So enjoy the drips tonight. I'll see you guys Thursday on the main show. Any questions? Nothing much. Nothing really in here. Let's take a little more of a look here. You never know. Nope, not too much. All right, guys. Have a good night.